All right, today we'll talk about the family background of Joseph Smith. First of all, I would like to clear that it is not my job, it is not my service, it is not my ministry even. I just believe the relationship between all my Punjabi and Urdu speaking and Hindi speaking people that inspires me to make this YouTube so that they may understand who is Joseph Smith, because he invented a theology and he never knew about church, he never knew about systematic idea of the theology, he never went to school, and he never knew what is the philosophy of Greek ideology. Because the Greek ideology gave us the theology of Christianity. Now you would ask me this question because you don't like to study it. How do you say that? It has great roots. That's why Apostle Paul talked about Greeks. Apostle Paul himself, he wrote more or most of the letters, they were written in Greek because he was from the Greco-Roman Empire. Okay, let us talk about the family background of Joseph Smith. As yesterday I talked about his mother, Lucy Mack Smith. She was a teacher of fiction literature, or you can say, in other words, mythology. So the son there was mythology in the blood of her son, Joseph Smith. So the family background, when we see, and I remember that I told you that when she was pregnant, she gave birth to the children, and her husband, he wanted her not to go to church. You need to think about it. Why was he thinking that? Because he was a superstitious person. He was a cultic person. He was lazy. He didn't want to work. The family was very poor. There were 11 children. Not children, sorry. There were 11 children in the family. And what do you think? They were rich? No, they were poor people. So the family background was lazy, poor, superstitious, and occultic believers. I would like to explain you first what is occultic believer. Just like you are a Christian believer and a person who is Hindu, he could be a Jainism believer, or he could be a Buddhist, or some they believe in Kabir, or some they believe in different ideas. So, because Senior Smith, he was a cultic believer, that's the reason I would like to explain you what is a cultic believer. The definition of a cultic believer is something related to the supernatural or magic. Bible doesn't talk about magic. Bible talks about spirituality, or Bible talked about sacrifice, about obedience. But in the occultic belief, you learn magic. And especially, why do people learn magic? To defame other people. Some they learn magic for sex. Some they learn magic for power, money. There are many hidden ideas to be an occultic believer. So some they go beyond that with mysterious ideas and designations or of certain arts, studies or practices of as magic. Alchemy, in Punjabi or Urdu we call it alchemia. Alchemy is the art of Greeks. But if you say Romans, no. Romans didn't believe that. Romans believe in pluralism. They believed in all kind of gods. Alchemy, they always would like to invent something. They like to make something. Like, suppose there are so many people who like to make gold. if I would tell you the formula right now, and you even that would be the wrong formula, you will start making it. You will practice it. That is called alchemy. So Senior Smith was alchemist, not alchemist with education. Alchemist mean he was struggling some kind of treasure. And the son, that is the reason when he invented his theology, we see a seer stone. How did he translate it? How did he translate the Book of Mormon? He got the plates written in Coptic language, in Egyptian language. In Urdu or Punjabi, we call it Misri Zuban. He got that in Coptic language. And when did he get that? When he got those, he never knew Coptic. None of his friends know Coptic. If you read the Book of Mormon, there is not a single Coptic word in the whole Book of Mormon. Because Joseph Smith took that seer stone and he had a magic hat. He got this hat from his father. He put the stone in the hat and he put his head in the hat, and he said, I could see some kind of radiant light coming out of the seer stone. So he started translating that. So it means that there were some kind of hidden, concealed mysteries in his mind that he would like to practice. And he practiced those hidden mysteries in the LDS theology. That is what we have: Doctrines of Covenant and Pearl of Great Price and Book of Mormon. You read the Book of Mormon. When somebody gave you, try your best to read it so that you could understand what is written in the book. Automatically, when you would read some narratives, some passages, your mind will start springing up the truth, the evil, all kind of ideas. Why these things are written? Because when I read Leviticus or when I read Numbers, Deuteronomy, those books are very hard to understand. But when I read, it gives me an idea that it was the time when the Jews were settling down, when Moses was making the Israelites know the constitution of God. So that was the reason he was writing Deuteronomy, and he was writing before time. That is the reason Moses mentioned his death in the book of Deuteronomy. But we still do not know, was Moses the writer of Deuteronomy, or Moses was just inspired and got the ready-made narration from God? Inspiration from God. So an occultic, it starts with O. O-C-C-U-L-T-I-C. Cult is something different. When you talk about cult means a small group that gets separate from a major religion, and they start increasing. When they get to a certain point, then they become a religion. But do you think these 15 million Mormons, it's a rough estimation, they are a religion? No. Outside of America, mostly people do not know them. If people know them, they are there because to make little money with the white missionaries, because the white missionaries want to destroy the Christian theology. The Christian theology is telling us the people, those who live in Palestine and in Israel, they are the main Jews, rest are scattered in the world. That's called diaspora. But Joseph Smith is telling us these white people who came from some European countries, Australia, Canada, Alaska, and some Russian origins, they are Jews. How can they be Jews? A Jew must know the Hebrew. A Jew must have a strong study of God, because Jews are the people who introduced Yahweh God to the world. That was the time when he met Moses and he said, I am who I am. That was the time that Moses asked him, Please tell me your name. And he said to Moses, Moses, stop it. I don't need a name, a human name. He is Yahweh, a God who created the whole world. And even if you read the book of Isaiah, Prophet Isaiah, and he's telling in chapter 14 and chapter 5, I am the only God. So, what was occultic? I was telling you that these are mysterious practices that people do through astrology, they do through the mind, so that they could reach some kind of treasure or some kind of things like that. These both brothers, Hiram and Joseph Smith, they were killed in Carthage jail. Why they were killed? Joseph Smith was the mayor of the city, and because he got letters from Masonic lodge and Masonic agency and from the government to stop this idea of telling that he is a prophet, and they put him in the jail. And while he was in the jail, he and his brother, they were killed with a pistol shot. And it was found when Joseph Smith was in the jail, a pistol was found from him. What a great prophecy! What a great prophet who had a pistol. We see when Jesus was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, and Judas came to kiss him because that was the symbol that he is Jesus, that this is the master teacher, so that they could arrest him. Peter took out his small dagger or his sword, and he chopped the ear of Malchus. What was that? Jesus said, put your sword back. Those who use sword, they will be killed by swords. In the past, Joseph Smith was using the pistol, the shots, he was killed by the shots. This is the prophecy of Jesus which was fulfilled on Joseph Smith. Brother was killed and the son was killed. Both brothers were killed. And that became the cry of Lucy Mack Smith, that this is the purpose my sons accomplished. Because she was thinking, just like Jesus accomplished the purpose by going on the cross, and he said, it is done. Lord, forgive them because they know not what they do. And grace took place, and we human beings were forgiven that time. And Lucy or Joseph Smith, they were doing the same actions. They were thinking, if the New Testament is telling us this kind of sacrifice, these are called occultic practices. He was playing an occultic practice that if I would die like this, my blood will be shed, and then people will start understanding I am that. Maybe somebody told him if he would do that, or whatever. I cannot say anything about that, but I read that. So that was their family story. I would like you to read Book of Mormon, read Pearl of Great Price, and read Doctrines of Covenant. Try to match that scripture with the scripture of Bible, so that you may understand how these occultic prophets, they believed, it is believed in the Mormon cult that Joseph Smith was a prophet. How did he try to prove himself he was a prophet? This is not prophecy. The prophecy is something that you say something, you do something in such a way that becomes the truth. I don't see any kind of truth in Joseph Smith's life and in his prophecy. So, thank you, and you all take care.